Hi, and welcome to the Dogwood Podcast. I'm your host for this week, Brian Harris, and our guest this week is Steve Robinson, our Director of Client Relations, and together we'll be talking about building relationships and keeping clients. We hope to have you stay for the podcast, and hopefully you'll learn a lot also too this week. All right, Steve.
Hello.
This is a topic that we're discussing this week that you are 100% an expert on. You may not think it, but I'm dubbing you an expert on this topic now. So,
well, all right.
just in case you wanted to know. But so building relationships, and this is a key thing that Dogwood does. And so I feel like you've bought into this. This is something that was here before you even joined us here, that we're all about building relationships and then solving issues out of the relationships, basically. Sometimes we even learn when we build these relationships that the things we offer are not the right fit, and we help them to go the right direction. And so that's became part of your job now.
Yes. In life, it is about relationships. Everything in life is relational. Mm-hmm. I mean, whether you go to the store, go to Walmart, and you're the one checking yourself out, you may have done it wrong.
That's true.
But in every interaction we have, whether it's with the wait staff, with a cook, somebody who's working on something in our home, it's all relational. Mm-hmm. And it takes time to be able to develop those relationships. And a lot of people are so busy, they don't take the time to get to know the person.
Yeah, and that was one of the things too. I told you when I hired you, it was like, I don't expect you to come out day one. Because one, you didn't know what all we did at Dogwood, and so a lot of the time that we spent there at the very beginning was just, and still is, learning about the different things we ever do. And I think you've got a pretty good grasp on at this point everything we do. And now it's just about learning our clients and the ones we already have. Because the second part of this week is talking about keeping clients, and that's part of, once we've built the relationship, is maintaining the relationship at that point too. But before we get too far into that, I kind of want to talk about some of the things you're already doing here with us. And it's not a secret or anything like that. There's no secret like, oh, Steve does this and it brings in lots of clients. That's not the thing. But so we're part of a group called BNI. So yes. Tell me about BNI. What is this?
BNI stands for Business Network International, mm-hmm. and it's in each of the BNI groups, there is different seats. So whether you have mortgages or whether you're into pest control or wealth management, they have the different seats for that. And I, in the business partner BNI group here local, I am the digital marketing seat there. Mm-hmm. So basically we just give referrals to each other. But before I can give referrals, I got to get to know people. Yep. So one of the big keys there is doing one-on-one. So mm-hmm. in other words, going with the people that are members of the BNI and sitting down and getting to know them. I want to know more about their family. I want to know more about what they do, what makes them tick, what do they see as their purpose in life, and then tell me about the business you have. What makes you different than anybody else who has a pest control service?
Yeah, when we learned about BNI, that's one of the things I liked about it the most, which drew me to it. And when I introduced you to them, is that their philosophy, how they do things, is almost spot on with what we do at Dogwood. They're the one-on-ones are relationship building. You have a big group event where y'all get together weekly, and then you have these one-on-ones where you get to know people individually, and it's not a sales call. It's 100% just trying to figure out, so what do you do? I sell mortgages. All right, well, great. What kind of clients are you looking for? So if I know someone that's needed a mortgage, then I could recommend you to them. Or what do you do? I work in marketing, and this is the kind of things we're looking for. So you're not trying to sell to one another. You're just trying to learn about what they do. In the end, you end up learning a lot about their personal lives along with their business, and you're able to go out and say, I know this person.
Absolutely.
And that's a big thing.
Yeah, I had somebody the other day. Matter of fact, I was having the one-on-one in a Zoom call, which I'm not really big on Zoom calls, but that's what was needed to be able to make that happen. And he put me on hold for a second because somebody had walked in his office. Mm-hmm. He came back and went, hey, I think he might want to talk to you. And he referred somebody to me because they were friends. And when I called this guy and talked to him, he's like, yeah, I don't need to know a lot about your business. If this guy recommended you, that's all I need to know. And that's what huge. Yeah, and that's what BNI is about, because when you give out a referral, you're selling yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's what's made Dogwood so great, Brian, because when people get to know you, the culture you've created here at Dogwood as a digital marketing agency, they understand your character, they understand your ethics, and that's the reason why our client base is as large as it is. Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're always wanting to continue to grow too. I tell people all the time, they'll ask me, So when are you going to stop? And I was like, well, I don't see a need to stop. I mean, like, as long as we can help people and as long as we can find staff to be able to help us do and meet our needs, then that's going to be our biggest limitation is always going to be making sure that we can take on the number of clients. And right now we haven't there's no ceiling out there, not from what I see. Another thing that you're super involved in, and this is a recent addition, is the Rotary Club here in Montgomery.
Yeah.
So that's, and you've been involved in other clubs before. What drew you to the Rotary Club?
Well, I already knew a handful of people in there, and it's kind of the who's who, the Montgomery Rotary Club that meets on Mondays. It's kind of the who's who of leadership of some of the larger corporations, organizations in Montgomery. You know,
so they approved you instantly as one of the leaders of one of those large corporations, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
They said, Dogwood, we've been begging somebody to come out.
It wasn't a fight at all. They were like, "Man, we need Dogwood in there for sure."
They were
Steve
really
in particular. They knew you by reputation. So
yes, reputation did precede me on that. But it is a organization that is about service, and that's what at the end of the day, that's what Dogwood's about. We're serving people. We're providing a service to help them achieve the goals that they have in their business or organization. So being a part of that, again, it's about networking. And networking is about relationships, and relationship takes time.
Yeah. So what do y'all do on Monday at your meetings? Like y'all normally have a speaker or?
They do.
Okay.
They do. Last meeting I went to, they had the president of the Real Estate Association for the state of Alabama get up and talk about, it was, he told everybody not to go to sleep. And I was like, I wonder why he said that. 5 minutes in, I realized why. There's a lot of stats.
Oh, man.
A lot of graphs.
Wow.
But they bring everybody in from the mayor to the governor to some of the key leaders, just organizations out there, have them come in, talk about what they do, why they do what they do. And so it's nice to be a part of that because Rotary clubs have been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm. But every week it's a learning experience when you go to that then.
It is. And so part of building those relationships there is getting around and meet new people. People I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Another thing that we've, and this is a longstanding relationship that Dogwood has had, and you're the second person that we've put through Leadership Montgomery. Our first one was Erin, and she had a great time with the program and learned a lot of different things and was able to do a service project. And you're getting to do all that stuff too. So you're, what do they call it for the old people at Leadership Montgomery?
That would be the legacy class.
It's okay. I would be in the legacy class also if I took it. So
yeah, legacy is anybody over 40, and torchbearers are anybody that's 20, it's young 20s, up to 39.
Yeah, I think when we put Erin through it, she was the youngest person that had gone through the torchbearers class, and so I was glad that we got to put you into the same thing too. So, what kind of things are y'all doing right now? I know you've been working on the park that Dogwood was able to help out with also too, and what other things you got going on?
They've taken us over to Maxwell and let us go there. We went through the Hyundai plant.
Oh, nice.
Mayor Strange came in and kind of told us what he legally could tell us about how they got Hyundai to come in.
So Mayor Strange came back? He's still walking around town and everything too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw him at a chamber event right after that.
How about that?
And it was kind of
He's still active then. That's really cool.
Very much so.
Yeah, because a lot of times a mayor will, they'll go out of office, and in his case, he chose basically to retire out of that office, and you don't see him again. That was 6 years ago almost now. But here's Mayor Strange still out there.
That he is.
That's awesome.
Yes, he's very involved behind the scenes.
Was he a Leadership Montgomery alum also too? Or
I do not believe so.
Okay. Because I know a lot of Leadership Montgomery alums, and this is a really cool thing about Leadership Montgomery, is that they basically can choose to stay involved also too, and just continue to build networks and get to know people also too. It's a great way to serve in the community too, because Leadership Montgomery is for Montgomery, and it's people that are in the community and leaders in the community and building them as leaders. And also you get to experience all kinds of things in Montgomery that not everyone would get to do. I mean, like the event y'all did this past week that you said you were terrible at, which I laughed at. What was that?
This upcoming next Thursday in our meeting, it's dealing with first responders, fire department, police department, sheriff's department. So I got to go out to the sheriff's department. They have a virtual firing range, if you will.
I'm so surprised you didn't do well at this, Steve.
Well, the scenario was they put us in there and said, act like a police officer. Well, I don't know what a police
Right.
officer processes through, but a guy put a gun to his head and walked backwards to me. He walked into a building, and I'm going, I don't know. Can I shoot him? I don't know.
Right.
If he goes in, it's not going to be good, but I don't think I could shoot him in the back. And so it ended up being, I failed miserably. In the scenario, 4 people were killed.
Well, and you wouldn't know that because, like you said, you haven't gone through the training,
Right.
which is kind of a great way. I mean, you learn about some of the pressures that the police go through
Right.
because of this. And I mean, the whole point of Leadership Montgomery is you're learning different things. And also, I mean, you getting to meet, it's for a group of 40 people from all different walks of life here in Montgomery.
Right. But to get behind the scenes and understand that they are teaching this, all the police departments from around the state to come in and make the mistakes in a virtual realm. Because when you get in the real world and you make a mistake, you can't take that back.
It's true. Yep.
So to understand that, without Leadership Montgomery, I probably wouldn't have had that opportunity to learn those type things. And through it, I have met. I already knew 3 people going in.
Okay.
So there are 39 other people I wouldn't have known any other way.
I know one of your classmates, and she's in my Sunday school class. And then so that was
keeping
really
tabs on me. I get it. I understand.
Maybe so. I don't know. Yeah. She's gone through the same things you are, so it's really cool to hear the same things from both of y'all. The learning experiences y'all are going through, and it's a very time-consuming thing, also too. It's a big commitment when you go through this.
It is. They broke us up in teams to do a team project. Our team, we went back to other classes and people we knew and said, "Give us some tips." So our project's actually done. So
nice.
Yes, so we're very blessed to have done that. We had most everything donated. Matter of fact, Dogwood stepped in and helped out with a logo and also with a new sign for this.
Lizzie did a great job on both of those things, man. The logo looked really good. The sign looked good, and also you helped one of our other clients that we work with too, and got them to go out there and install the sign. So that was great. I mean, you coordinated that, but that also comes from building relationships, and that came through another connection. So it's really cool to see all these things coming together like that.
There's a lot of great opportunities. Like I said, legacy class. This is class 40 that I'm in, and so for 40 years, and it was built on the premise of Montgomery is somewhat split. It's almost 50% black, 50% white, and they want to have an opportunity that if there ever is a major issue in town, that is just it's blowing up, you got to be able to have people across both aisles on both races to be able to already have that connection where they can get together and immediately jump into how do we help in this, and so that is why. Leadership Montgomery, I've dumbed it way down, all right. But in a nutshell, that was why it was actually put together.
Okay.
And so there are the classes, racially split and also gender split as well.
Okay. Well, those are some of the group ways of building relationships we've done, but that's just kind of a small sampling. I mean, you've done a lot of things here for Dogwood, leading the way and us being involved in other nonprofits and stuff too. And I mean, that's a big deal for us at Dogwood because nonprofits are a big client base that we have here. That's my background is in the nonprofit world and the religious institutions world. And so I tend to lean towards helping those clients out, but it's also not just them as clients, but them as us serving also too. And so there's people that we've been able to do that with, and that's also part of building relationships. And not all those nonprofits are clients that we've been able to work with, and that's been a big deal that you've helped us with that too. Just making sure that we're staying involved in the community too. So and that's part of our philosophy here at Dogwood is in doing that.
Yeah, it comes down to not just what you say, but what you do. And so when we're able to, you allowed us to take an entire morning to go to a nonprofit and actually volunteer.
Yeah.
And now that nonprofit is a client, but we didn't go down there because they're a client. We went down there because of what they do for the community. And we got to be a part of that. And that really, the side benefit to it was it deepened our relationship.
Yeah.
That was not why we did it. And it was interesting is because of, I don't even know if I told you this. I actually went and served there again.
Oh, did you?
Through the Rotary Club.
Oh, okay. When did you do that? I didn't even know.
It was one morning. I went out, which was kind of neat because I got to go me and another Rotarian,
Yeah.
got to go do this for about an hour and a half.
Okay.
And
You're like, I'm a pro. I know how to do this.
and it was so good. It was interesting is that Montgomery is such a large, small town. And when I got in there, and lo and behold, his wife and my wife were on the PTA at Brewtech years ago.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, and his path, my path, had never crossed until I got into the Montgomery Rotary Club.
That's really cool. Well, I know this podcast episode is titled Building Relationships and Keeping Clients. It actually was originally titled Keeping Clients and Building Relationships. And me and you were sitting there like, that's the wrong order. Like we build relationships and then keep the clients. And so, but we do a lot of fun things for keeping clients that you've came up with. And we're working on some few projects like right now. I know I was making a list of things that we've done in the past that we could kind of talk about. And, was there any other creative ways to keep clients that you'd like to share before I go through some of the things I wrote down? Or
I think just making sure you have a touch point where you go in and just say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah,
Literally.
I'm not here for anything. I'm just checking on you.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that we do, and Brian, you do this incredibly well also, and that is when we get to bring a client in, we're not looking to see what service we can provide for them. That's the premise of why they're coming in. But we always say, hey, we want to sit down and have a conversation with you. Like I had somebody yesterday, the only way I could get them was through a video chat. And through that video chat, all of a sudden, all these things that I was hearing from them, I couldn't figure out what was on the backside of that. I heard the stories and went, oh, that's why you feel that way. Oh, that's why you have this roadblock in this scenario.
Yep.
And so getting to know some, when we bring them in here to our office or we go meet with them, I want to get to know who they are. What are their passions? Tell me about what their dreams are. And it's amazing, Brian, you've been in those meetings with me, and I know you've had those for years, where when that comes in, they come in and they only want us to help out with maybe like social media. By the time everything's said and done, they're going, oh, wow, I didn't realize in digital marketing realm, I really need to do all these things to achieve the dreams that I have for myself and my business. And so the opportunity, because nothing we do is cookie cutter. Everything we do here is custom. And the only way for it to be custom is you have to listen to the client. And because they'll tell you really what's making them tick, really what they need, what their needs are. And there are some people that have come in, we got to know them, we're like going, yeah, you don't need all that you think you need.
That's happened a couple of times where I'm just thinking about this the other day. We had a client come in and they wanted a particular service, and we're like, that's not the right service for what you're needing. And so we were finally able to convince them by showing like all the stats. Here's what this will do. This is the kind of results you can expect from this. We never guarantee results. That's a big thing. We're very upfront about that we don't guarantee results. But from past experience, this is what this would do. Whereas if you use this, looking at past experience, it's going to bring you more results. And so we finally got them to do it. But they were very resistant to it the entire time, to the point where at the end of the first 30 days, I was like, y'all are not happy. I can tell this. You want to do what you want to do. We'll cancel the contract, and y'all can go do what you want to, but we can't help you with that because we don't feel good taking the money from you. That's just, I can't do that. I can't guarantee the results you want to have in 2 to 3 months doing that particular kind of tactic. And so they left, and that stinks, but it was the better fit for us too, because I didn't want them going around going, oh, Dogwood said they would do this and it didn't happen. Well, like, no, Dogwood told you it wouldn't happen. Right. And so that was one of those weird stories that we've had happen just recently. And I think we're better off for it, truthfully, in that case, because I want to win too. I want to see our clients win. And when our clients win and they gain business and grow, then we're winning, because also that opens up further opportunities, because when their profit margins continue to increase and we're part of that, then guess what? That opens up opportunities for us to be able to come in and do additional things. And so we want our clients to win. And that's why we're doing it. We're trying to help them grow. So one of the touch points I know that we've done in the past, and we keep talking and flirting about taking it and doing it again. We did the Dogwood Journal, and that was something that our staff did just as a creative outlet that had no like intricate value other than just us being creative and telling creative stories. And we sent it out to our clients just to basically say, hey, check out all this creative stuff we're able to do. We can print a magazine just like you. We could do layouts just like this, and it's been a great fun tool. And it doesn't have it doesn't cost us that much to do it, but it was a way just to be in touch with our clients. And so we've done other things like that with postcards and phone calls, and that's actually, me and you have a meeting after this meeting. Yeah?
Yes, we do. Because we're at a point now where we need to go back and look at, since I came on board, there's a lot of things we've learned, just because I have different viewpoints on things, and finding out what people need. And also I had the unique part because I was a director of development at a local large nonprofit. That's how you and I reconnected.
Yeah.
Was because I was looking, because I had needs in the digital marketing realm. And so I understand a little bit of what some of our clients are going through. Because, we're throwing terms out and they're just shaking their head like they know what's going on, and they don't have a clue.
I found Beth Gillen would get on to me about that. She's like, Brian, I know you're trying to make sure things sound simple, but even you don't realize when you're saying things and not realizing you're making it simple. So I would take her to a meeting, and she would stop and go, I want to interpret what Brian just said and give it to you in layman's terms. And she would do that and burn me so bad every once in a while. But it was really good. It was great that she did that, because it helped me to remember that I've got to not assume that everyone understands everything I'm saying sometimes. And that was Beth, in her own special way, was teaching me a lesson, in doing that. And so we try not to do that. We try not to. I don't want to speak over our clients' heads. That's a big goal of mine, is to make it where it's understandable to any person at whatever level of marketing understanding they are. Right. Yeah, you ran into one the other day it was actually a meeting we had earlier today where they were super understood everything about websites, and that changed the speed of the meeting. Because they knew what we were talking about, and so we were able to kind of skip some things that we didn't have to explain anymore. But I'd prefer to take the time to explain those, especially if someone doesn't know. I want them to walk out of here going, they know what they're talking about, and they're able to communicate it. So, and that's something that you've adapted this really well too.
And that's a great meeting, because that's when I just take a lot of notes.
I try not to do that too. I did that the other day. Me and you were having a meeting, and I knew it was your meeting, and then I just started talking.
No, it's what I meant by that was you were able to talk in incredible technical terms, because there's so much about. I tell people I talk to, I said, listen, just remember, it's not me that'll be building your website. Right. It's not me that'll be doing all the management of your site, creating graphics, videos, photos, and social media management. I said, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I said, I know enough about it, but we have experts that sit at those their workstations, and they're the ones that make the magic happen.
Yeah. That's been hard for me to let go of, is because I know enough to be dangerous about everyone's positions, because I've done it all at one point, but I've had to recognize that I've hired people and they can do it better and faster than any time I could do it at this point, that they've surpassed me. But I still know enough to be dangerous. I know enough where I can go have a technical discussion with them or have a technical discussion with a client. But it's gotten me in trouble too a couple of times, I will say. Oh yeah, we could do that.
But I think
I need to go talk to the developer.
And based on what we just talked about there, it shows how our relationships, we understand that we don't treat every person the same.
Right.
Everybody's different. And we want to get to know them.
Yep.
And some are very reluctant to share a lot, which is fine. And some just open up. I was telling you about a new client that has called me and told me about all these things that have gone on in their lives. And hey, that's fine. That's part of who I am in the client relation role. And so I want to be that. And
I love that, because that's what I imagined you being able to do, because it's something that I don't always have the time to be able to sit down or slow down the way I need to. But you're able to do that. I mean, that's literally your role, is to build those relationships and to be a good listener and to be available. And I was telling a potential client today, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be in and out of the office, but Steve knows everything you need to know about this. Let's get you two together. Yeah. And they're like, oh, great. 'Cause in the end, they want someone to be able to tell what they're going to, that can communicate it and understand what they're saying, and so that we can then interpret it and decide, what's the best route for this? How would we work together with them? And so, I know we could probably talk about this for a long time, but we try to respect our time on the podcast.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. And so today we're talking about building relationships and keeping clients. I hope we were able to share something that maybe helps someone and all that. But I will say, is there any other last remarks you want to make? Or are you good?
I would say that it boils down to life is about relationships, and relationships take time. And I think that's where a lot of home relationships fall apart, is because they forget to invest the time. And I think that it also that translates easy enough into what I'm doing in my role. And then it's just talking about Dogwood. It's a lot of fun to talk about something that is doing really well and assisting others, because people go, "Hey, so you help nonprofits?" Oh, that's a softball on a tee. Mm-hmm. That's easy to hit. And so, because Dogwood does such a great job in helping organizations and companies achieve the goals that they have.
So I mentioned Lizzie earlier. She's our graphic designer. She's an amazing designer. So next week on the podcast, it's going to be Lauren and Lizzie, and they're going to be talking about making logo designs. And so it's really funny. We mentioned it earlier, and that's going to be the subject for next week. So
and I tell you, Lizzie, I told you before we started this whole podcast today, was Lizzie's so good at what she does.
She really is. She
really has a unique viewpoint. And as a graphic artist, you have to have that uniqueness.
She's an artist.
Yes.
Like beyond just the graphic design work, she does the artistry. Like I love getting to go see her Instagram page and what creative things she's doing on the side, because I mean she does graphic design work, but then she does all these fun, creative things all the time too. I tagged her in a post the other day about my shoes, and because she was taking credit that we were being upping our shoe game, and she's probably right, because she's just so creative and she wears the coolest shoes, and it's like all of us want to wear the cool shoes and show them to Lizzie so we can get the stamp of approval by the creative person in the room. So there's not other creative people, but someone just as creative as she is.
She is a University of Alabama alumni.
We forgive her for that. So some of us, it's okay. They did a good job of her, I will say. University of Alabama has done a great job with their creatives and their graphic design program. We've gotten 2 great graphic designers out of that program. So even though I'm not an Alabama fan, I will say I'm a big fan of the work that they're doing with their students over there at Alabama when it comes to the creative and graphic design work. I mean, Mark came out of that program. Two graphic designers, Lizzie and Kristen before her, both all came out of that program. So their creative arts department over there is doing a great job. So you hear that from an Auburn fan. I'm a fan of Alabama's specific department that brought us those 3 people. So, if you like what you're hearing here on the Dogwood podcast, make sure you go over to dogwoodmediasolutions.com. You can check out any of the content that we've got there. This is our 2nd year of the podcast. This, I think, is the 6th or 7th one. Maybe it's not that many this year. Maybe it's, what episode is this? This is 4, I think. I'm really bad at keeping up with the numbers, but there's a lot of other podcasts in there too. There's going to be several more. We've got a list that we've already developed this year of different topics and different guests that we're going to be focusing on. I actually went out to breakfast this morning with a potential guest. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's a CEO of a local company here in town. I would love to have him on the podcast. He's got a lot of insights about leadership that I would just love to be able to share on it. So that's some of the topics we're focusing on for this next year. So if you definitely want to keep up with that, go over and subscribe there on our podcast page at dogwoodmediasolutions.com. If you're looking to connect with us, the website's still the same place to go. Go to the Contact Us button there or any of our social media platforms, and you can connect with us also. If you haven't already, like I mentioned before, make sure you subscribe, and that way when the new podcast comes out, they'll go straight to your inbox. Steve, thanks for joining me today.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right. Well, make sure you tune in next week for the next Dogwood podcast. And until next time, happy marketing.